I really enjoyed learning to fly here at Leeds Bradford Airport. I'm sure Charles Bell will have done as well. Charles Bell's grave lies right at the end of runway 14 at Leeds Bradford Airport, which is quite fitting as this is where he won his wings. Charles Bell lived about 6 miles from the flying club, about 45 minutes cycle ride, so if he was anything like me, he must have spent all his spare time here watching the planes take off and land. In the run-up to the war, the RAF knew it would need a steady supply of pilots and other aircrew. The Auxiliary Air Force that supplied these was an elitist institution where most of the applicants came from public schools. All of its pilots were commissioned, and to be an Auxiliary Air Force pilot was to belong to a jealously guarded elite, access to which was barred by social and financial hurdles which were impassable for many of the people who wished to fly with them. What was needed was a reserve of pilots from the normal secondary schools who could train, while still living at home and working in the jobs. The education requirements could be gained by part-time study at night schools run by technical colleges. Air Commodore Arthur Tedder, who was at the time Director of Training and would be later Eisenhower's Deputy Supreme Commander of Operation Overlord, the invasion of France, wanted to get youths from the poorer secondary schools to work together in the air and mix socially on the ground. Training was done at flying clubs such as the Yorkshire Aeroplane Club at Leeds Bradford, at weekends and evenings, and ground school was taught in town centre venues. These venues also created a camaraderie amongst the crews. By the outbreak of war in September 1939, approximately 5,000 pilots were on the books of the Royal Air Force Voluntary Reserve. Charles Bell became one of these pilots. Lord Beaverbrook, who owned the Daily Express, was a master of propaganda and oversaw the Spitfire Fund. The advent of air power had put every man, woman and child in the UK in danger from Nazi bombs, and the fighter aircraft were the favourite of the time, and the favourite was the Spitfire. The Spitfire Fund gave everybody, people who were spending their days and nights in the underground and in the air raid shelters, a way of hitting back at the Nazis. Wolverhampton was the first city to collect donations and pay for the building of a Spitfire, approximately £300,000 in today's money, and then other cities followed suit, naming the aircraft after their town. Spitfire P8161 was built at Castle Bromwich and was called the City of Leeds. Spitfire P8161, the City of Leeds, was built by Vickers Armstrongs Limited at Castle Bromwich, which was the largest purpose-built aircraft factory of World War II that produced Lancaster bombers as well as Spitfires. By September 1940, the factory had built 125 Spitfires and had been a target during August that year when it was bombed, killing 11 key workers and injuring 111 more. Throughout the war, Castle Bromwich produced nearly 12,000 Spitfires. That's more aircraft than all the other factories combined. It's now the home of Jaguar Land Rover. On the 9th of March 1941, the City of Leeds Spitfire was moved from Castle Bromwich to No. 9 Maintenance Unit at Cosford, a distance of less than 30 miles. And Charles Bell was given orders to fly it from Cosford up to RAF Turnhouse, which is now Glasgow Airport. On the 14th of May 1941, Charles took off from RAF Cosford to deliver the City of Leeds Spitfire to 603 Squadron at Turnhouse, Scotland. The route Charles was to take would take him over the ground near where I'm flying here with Pam, just inland from Morecambe Bay. But the cloud can be cruel even in May. Charles was the nearest he would have been to home on the whole of the journey when he flew into high ground, shrouded in mist in an area about 10 miles from Rose in Shipley, called Wolfstones. I'm up on the moors at the scene of the air crash, and over there in the distance on the horizon is an area called Wolfstones, and that's roughly where the aircraft hit the ground. It's a very bleak area up here, very cold, very desolate. The police took his body into possession, but his parents will have chosen to have him buried next to the place he would have loved.